and welcome to the first of my videos about our book that we're reading in the Conscious Conversations book club, the book Philosophy for Life by School of Athens. And today I'm going to really focus in on chapter 1, which is the first of the 2 chapters we are reading this week, and just give you my take on what it's all about. So if you haven't quite got round to reading the book yet, or reading those particular chapters, and you are in the book group, then hopefully that will give you the incentive to read it. And for those of you that haven't been able to join because of other commitments, you can follow along through these videos. So I'm going to start by spritzing myself with this beautiful spritzer called Big Magic, which smells a bit like figs because it has fig essence in it, and there's an aliveness about it, which is how I'm feeling, probably because I have done my boot camp this morning, and also because I'm really excited about coming together with you for the next 3 to 4 months to explore some of the themes in this book. So what I loved, and one of the reasons why I chose this book, is because in the preface, Jules starts talking about a painting by Raphael called The School of Athens, in which a number of the philosophers of the day from ancient Greek and Roman times were gathered having a debate. And that is really what I want here, not in the sense of us all falling out, but offering different views, different opinions on what we've read, and therefore stretching our own understanding of it and hopefully gaining other insights, and so growing. Because one of the things it says in chapter 1, if we think about what is philosophy about, for me it's about, why are we here? What is well-being? What does all these words that we bandy around actually mean to us individually? So we start to really unpick and maybe unpack some of the sort of beliefs that perhaps we've held without really considering them. And it's even in that piece of reflection, we have the opportunity to grow and evolve. And that's why it's so exciting. That, as I said in one of my earlier videos, offers a gateway to transformation, a portal to another way of being. And so that's one of the reasons that we come together. And in that first chapter, Jules talks a lot about Socrates and Socratic thought, and really the importance of asking questions. And that's something that's really important for me, because I'm not always that good at asking questions. I kind of intuit what's going on and share all of those things. And so I love that, because really what he's saying is that, there is a link between Socratic thought and cognitive behavioural therapy, which is a big thing now. I mean, you probably know people that have had CBT. And actually, even this year, someone was telling me that I should get that for my daughter, one of my daughters was suffering with a degree of anxiety and had some panic attacks. And I was like, what is it that everybody's into this CBT thing? And I guess what it is at its heart, to me, it reminds me of Byron Katie's The Work. I don't know if you've come across her and her work, but it's incredible stuff, where you are examining what lies behind an opinion, because it's not what happens to us that causes the pain, it's the way that we think about it. So something happens, we interpret what's happened, and then we feel positively or negatively about it. And some of that is based on disposition. So when I talk about, if you haven't done it, I really recommend you do my colour quiz on my website. I'll put a link at the bottom of the video. There are 3 personality types, and it's based on sort of Buddhist thinking as well. So it's not just colour, and they're blue, red and yellow. Well, blue people are inherently positive, so always think it's going to work out, whatever. red people see all the flaws in anything, even the smallest, tiniest thing. So they're always thinking about things, they're quite critical. They're called the angry type. So you could say that those two types in and of themselves, one is glass half full, one is glass half empty. And then the deluded type, which is yellow, isn't really sure what to think, and maybe does a bit of both because they've had sort of mixed signals perhaps as they've been growing up, so haven't quite processed it all and come into one of the other two types. So that gives you a sense. So of course we're all, at that sort of egoic level, we have our own personality, our own disposition, and yet we're not just that, are we? Psychotherapy is said to mean caring for our souls. So there's a part of us, an energetic part of us, that's more than just our mind and our body. It's our spirit, and I suppose that's what we're coming together to explore and find out more about as we get into the conversation. So that's the invitation, really, because in all of this, really what the book is about, as we look at 12 different philosophers and also apply it and show how it's being played out today, so it's not just stuck back in ancient times, it's really relevant to modern society. But what we're saying is that a lot of people sleepwalk through life. They don't think about what's going on, how they feel about things. They think, oh well, if I have a bit more money it'll be okay, or if this happens then things will get better. But the only moment we have is now, the present. It's called the present because it is a gift. Yesterday's history and the future hasn't happened yet. So we have to remember and remind ourselves of that. So really what we're looking, as we explore these philosophers, we might get some taste of our own unconscious thoughts and values, or things that we've assumed. So often people just assume the values of their parents, the political views, or if you're like me, I was a complete rebel and took the absolute opposite view for a while, and so we're invited to look at those sort of that unconscious stuff and bring it up to the surface. That's why it's a really safe environment to explore that, and then go, does that serve me? Does that way of being still serve me? And if it doesn't, I can make a conscious choice to change that. And in changing that, I'm going to form a new habit, a new way of being. And that sounds wonderful. And it can take a lot of energy and time to really bring that together. But coming together in a way as a group, we're holding each other accountable to that process if we choose to get into it. So it's a fabulous way to start doing the work, and a fun way as well, without having to get too into the nuts and bolts. And you'll see lots of different things. So while each philosopher probably agrees on those first three steps, the fourth step about what it means to have a life that's flourishing, to be in the good life, have the good life, they have very different views on what that looks like. So as you read those, you might think, yeah, I really agree with that, or no, that's not how I see it. And that's great, because that's informing you and informing us as well. So that's, in essence, what the first chapter is. It's sort of setting out where we've got to, and it kind of poses some really great questions. Can philosophy offer us a way to improve our well-being? If we set up communities like the School of Life and others that have been set up on a philosophical bent, is that a positive thing? Can that help to, society to evolve? Or actually, what stops it from becoming a cult? And where's the danger there if we become too, sort of, this is the way well-being looks like in our society, this is what you have to be doing? That goes completely, is the antithesis, I suppose, of neoliberalism. And so where are we on that sort of line, on that continuum? And we may all be on different places, and I look forward to exploring it with you more on Thursday. And later this week, I will be back to talk a little bit about the essence of chapter 5. So enjoy the book, and if you're not joining us, read along with us, and feel free to add your own insights here below this video, and I'm happy to chip in and make some comments. Go well and see you soon.